Welcome to this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market. We're going to take a look at Manhattan and Brooklyn. We're also going to take a look at the luxury market, meaning properties that are priced at $4 million and above. I'm Julianne Bond, and I'm a residential real estate broker in New York City, where for over 20 years I have helped buyers and sellers successfully navigate the often turbulent waters of New York City real estate. Each week, I bring you the latest news on the New York City market. I do it to keep you informed, whether you are actively in the market, thinking about entering the market, or maybe you're just curious about what goes on here. We all know that knowledge is power, and I like to empower people because I know if they have the information they need to be successful, they're going to make great decisions. Of course, there's always a lot more that goes into being a successful buyer or seller than just having data points, but having that information gets you off to a great start. Let's take a look at the luxury market for last week, the week of July 19th to the 25th. There were 39 contracts signed in the luxury market alone in Manhattan. That's 6 more than the previous week, and it represents a continuation of a rather dazzling recovery of the luxury market in New York City. Of those 39 contracts, 23 were condos, 8 were townhouses, 8 were co-ops. It represented contract activity all over the city, from the east side to the west side to midtown to downtown. Take a look at the chart and you'll see how those numbers break down more specifically. The number 1 contract last week was Penthouse A at 40 East End Avenue. It was asking over $25 million. It's a brand new property, triplex penthouse, over 6,000 square feet interior, about 2,000 square feet exterior, and at that price is probably one of the most expensive properties on East End Avenue in its history. The buyers were looking for quite a long time, as I understand it. They had been looking since before COVID, before they made their decision. The number 2 contract is the townhouse at 116 East 70th Street. This is a beautiful townhouse, stunning, about 6,500 square feet, asking around $23 million. The buyers for that are from New York City. I shared links for both properties so you can check them out. The total sales volume for the in-contract properties was in excess of $375 million, and the average asking price was about $9.6 million. So now let's take a look at the Manhattan market across the board at all price points. Let's take a look at the supply. We're down about 1% from the week before, 67.93. This is seasonal, likely seasonal. We're probably not going to see a big uptick in new supply until the next market cycle, meaning after Labor Day. Now, as we look at the pending sales, that gives us a sense of the demand, right? That and the properties that are coming off the market. 53.75. That's down a couple of percentage points from where it was last week, but it's still very, very strong. And it may also be because Acris is still catching up with the volume of closed transactions. And so it's very likely that when Acris does catch up, we will see that this is still very, very high numbers in terms of demand, right? So there's the demand continues to be pretty high, even though it's down a little bit, and the supply continues to drop off a bit. If we just look at the actual supply, the weekly pace from last week, it is 361. So this is okay, but it's not a lot of new supply. It's up about 13% from the week before, but still, if you look at the contracts signed, so the demand is 306. There were 306 contracts signed. That means that the demand is really climbing right up onto the catching up with the supply. And if you look at the off-market properties, meaning properties have just been taken off the market for whatever reason. It's 245 in 1 week. So if you add that up, that means that the supply is not keeping up at all with the demand. So now on to Brooklyn for last week's numbers. For the supply, we are seeing 3248. That is kind of going sideways. It's down a little bit, but not so very different from the week before. Again, like with Manhattan, we're probably seeing this slowdown in new supply as reaction to a kind of a seasonal time being the summer. And we'll probably see more properties coming on in the fall after Labor Day. If we look at pending sales though, 3623, that is pretty close to what it was the week before. The demand still continues to exceed the supply, likely to stay that way, at least for a while, at least till we get to the end of the summer and we move into a new market. If we look at just the 1 week supply for Brooklyn, it is 249. It's down about 5% from the week before. Contracts signed 196, down about 6%. We are seeing properties come off the market in Brooklyn, just like Manhattan. 121 properties came off the market last week. So if you look at the contracts signed and the off-market properties, and you combine those two numbers, and then you look at the weekly supply, it's another way of saying that the supply is not keeping up with the demand. So thanks for joining me for this week's look at the state of the New York City real estate market. I do this every week, so feel free to subscribe and you'll get my weekly updates. Check out my social media accounts because I'm always posting about New York City real estate there. Let me know if you have any questions. You can post them in the comments below. I'm happy to answer any real estate questions that you have. I'll be back next week with another State of the Market report. In the meantime, take care.